Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all an update to my Cardfight Vanguard Overdress Aurora Princess Prison deck profile for post-Festival Collection 2021. With the release of the latest Festival Collection, we were given new support in the form of the latest Aurora Battle Princess Limon, and I figured an update was due for the deck just for some of the other ratio changes that were made since the previous deck profile, with all the different numbers of cards due to playtesting for the Prison deck, and just the overall playstyle that you can get consistently for adding more and more units to your prison to boost up all your cards on the field against your opponent. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the Ride deck. As always, for our starter, we're using the Aurora Battle Princess Ruby Red, just the standard when wrote upon. If you went second, draw a card. For the grade 1 unit in the Ride deck, we're running the Aurora Battle Princess Kyanite Blue. When this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle and your deck, you search your deck for up to one prison card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So the main play, obviously, is to search out our prison. You only really want to run the one copy in the deck. That's really all you need for any of your plays. With it, we are also running the one Aurora Battle Princess Rissoff Pink. When it's placed on Vanguard Circle, your opponent chooses a card from their hand and imprisons it in your prison. So being able to take a card potentially from their hand, it could be one they were going to use for guarding, one they were going to call or ride later on. So this can be a big hit against your opponent if you even go first and just have that advantage against them. With our main go-to grade 3 unit being Aurora Battle Princess Seraph Snow. During your turn, if one or more of your opponent's cards are imprisoned in your prison, this unit gets plus 10,000 power. If there are 3 or more, it gets drive +1. So the triple drive alone is very, very scary, but attacking for what could potentially be 33,000 if you were to Persona Ride with this card also is a big hit against your opponent. So the ideal Ride deck for it enlists searching out your prison card and then imprisoning one of your opponent's unit, and then just getting benefits from having all those different imprisoned cards. For the main deck, starting off with the normal set order that we run, we're just running the one Galaxy Central Prison, Galactolus. You really only need this one card. You can search it before you would take any damage with your Ruby Red Ride target into Kyanite Blue, just being able to search this card out. So then you would activate it by either resting this unit or another unit you can call to rearguard. If you went first, it's just that better because then you don't have to attack. You can just rest your Vanguard and set your prison up ready to go. When you activate this card, you have to rest one of your unit to play it, and when activated, you put 3 cards into your soul, so you soul charge 3, and from your order zone, when your opponent can normal call a card to rearguard, they can perform the following. They can soul blast 1. If they do, choose one of their imprisoned cards and call it to rear, or they can counterblast 2 and then call 2. So it's just all up to what resources they want to use with this card. Just really only needing the one for the plays, like I said. For the rest of the deck, we are running 3 additional Seraph Snows. Not only does it have a Vanguard +10 and additional drive check +1, on Vanguard or rear, once per turn, you can counterblast 1, choose 2 of your opponent's rear guards, and imprison them in your prison. So that can take away a lot from your opponent's plays. For just a counterblast 1, you're essentially retiring units that your opponent will have to pay resources to break them out of prison. And with the Persona Ride, as I said earlier, you just have more and more pressure riding this card up against your opponent for all of those pressure plays. And also building up the soul when you ride Seraph Snow after Seraph Snow. For the additional grade 3, I'm also running 4 of the Grana Road Far Tiger. On rearguard once per turn, soul blast 1, and this unit gets plus 2,000 to end of turn. And choose one of your opponent's front row rearguards, imprison it in your prison. So you can use Seraph Snow to take care of 2 of your opponent's back row rearguards for the imprisonment. And then Fair Tiger on rearguard can take care of the additional one, giving you all the required needs for your 3 or more to get drive check +1 with your Seraph Snow, and just taking away more of their resources on the field as well. For the grade 2s, which we're now moving on to, still running the 4 of the Aurora Battle Princess Agra Rouge on Vanguard or Guard Circle. If 2 or more cards and your opponent are imprisoned, and in your prison, this unit gets plus 5,000 power and defense plus 10,000. So with this shield plus 10,000, you have great intercept options against your opponent, but also just the pressure that this card can have alone for 15,000. And when this unit is placed on rearguard, you can soul blast 1, choose one of your opponent's front row rearguards, and imprison it in your prison. So whether you open up your Grana Road Fair Tiger or your Agra Rouge, you have plenty of ways just to clear out your opponent's front row of any of the cards they may have used against you in upcoming plays. And for the other grade 2s that we are running, the new card from the Festival Collection is Aurora Battle Princess Spark Limon. With this card on rearguard, when this unit attack hits, choose up to 2 unit cards from your opponent's drop zone and imprison them in your prison. So this is just a good way if your opponent is avoiding calling potentially a lot of rear guards for you, and they can go for the heavy guard against your Vanguard, but then being able to attack with your Spark Limon means that they just have to avoid these hits, because then you'll just take cards from their drop zone, which they could potentially add back to their field by using their resources, but you're more doing this so you have more and more cards set up in your prison for you to use. Then you can have the option of, during the attack step, having your Limon on the field along with your Seraph Snow, attacking with this card and setting up the additional cards in the prison needed for you to gain the additional plus with your Seraph Snow, having just the fact that it is a continuous skill, 3 or more cards are in your opponent's prison. So you can set up the cards needed with your Spark Limon in the actual attack step before you even had it set up during the main phase with any of your other cards. And that is it now for the grade 2s. Moving on to the grade 1, still running the 4 detonation mutant Bauble Mine. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If your order zone has a set order, put this unit into your soul and countercharge 1. So just another great additional unit to boost for your Spark Limon. Having the 18,000 power is the pressure needed for this card to hit against an opponent's Vanguard. Even better if you have the additional plus 10,000 from your Persona Ride. So for this, just gives you resources for saving your counterblasts as well, which you would use for some of your other cards in the deck, including the 4 of the high-speed Robo Shovel Stud. For this card on rearguard, once per turn, Counterblast 1, and also Soul Blast 1. Choose one of your opponent's rearguards, imprison it in your prison. Then if 3 or more cards are in your opponent are imprisoned in your prison, you draw a card. So it's draw power, and once again, being able to build up the soul with Bauble Mine and give you a counter charge meets all the requirements set up for this for you to then use with Shovel Stud. And it's just a once per turn, so this card can remain on the rearguard and just use this skill over and over again against your opponent. And then also for the grade 1, still running 2 of the Atomic Caution on rearguard or guard circle. If 1 or more of your opponent's cards is imprisoned in your prison, this unit gets plus 2,000 power and shield plus 5. So it's just a continuous, even if you just call this card to your guard circle from your hand, you have the additional plus 5 shield, meaning we didn't really have too many grade 1s with 10k shield in this game for the new format. So having the additional 10k with this grade 1 is just an added plus to use for protection against your opponent overall altogether. With the final spot for the grade 1s just being 4 Violate Dragon, the Sentinel for the Overdress format, for Brontgate, just once again going over the fact that if you have 2 of these cards in your hand and you guard with the 1, since you only have 1 card left in your hand, you don't have to pay the discard cost for the Sentinel, meaning that you can use the final card for discard cost against your opponent without having to have the discard. It's good for if you were to guard against an opponent's Vanguard and they potentially get an overtrigger, and then you have the option for the final one to stop the 100 million power rear guard that they may give the power to since you used a Sentinel. And then, since we already went over the starter in the Ride deck for the trigger lineup, running the 8 critical, so 4 of the Cardinal Draco, Barbazoned, and 4 of the Aurora Battle Princess, Loris Yellow. Just more pressure with all the criticals. The fact that our Vanguard can potentially do triple drive each turn as well is the immense pressure we needed. I thought of using draw triggers, but decided to stick to the front triggers for more of the pressure. So 3 of the front triggers. We're only running 3 of this because of the over trigger spot as well, with our over trigger in the deck being our Star Deity Dragon of Infinitude, Elder Breath. Just the power plus that can double all potential cards on the field is very, very scary with this card. So with it and all your power-ups you have already on the field being doubled, along with the critical, can be potentially game-breaking against your opponent if you get this at the right time when the drive checks are revealed. And lastly, the 4 heal trigger being Aurora Battle Princess True Screen. Just the heal trigger of choice since it fits with all the other Aurora Battle Princesses in the deck. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. This definitely has some pretty awesome new support with the Festival Collection. That's why I just felt like updating the deck currently with the support we were given for it. And I'll definitely be updating the deck as well when Set 2 releases later on in July. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Qualia out.